Hi there, my name's Adam and welcome to Local Bytes. Now today we're going to be taking a look at how to set up your brand new LocalDeck. I'm really excited, hopefully you are too. Let's get started. So, what's in the box? This is the LocalDeck. It will arrive to you with all 24 key switches and keycaps pre-installed. Now, as you know, we give you the ultimate customizability through our configurator, and as such we also ship a bag of 24 clear covers for those keycaps. It's worth noting you won't actually get the labels, that's what the configurator's for. This is just one I've prepared earlier for us. If you've ordered the bundle, you will also receive a faceplate. As you should know, we sell them in white and black. Now, you'll probably notice that the LocalDeck ships in what we refer to as the naked configuration. That's without its faceplate. So the first thing you're going to want to do is take all the keys off and put the faceplate on. Fortunately, these aren't soldered and will just pull straight off. The faceplate is designed to be a snap fit configuration. As such, to put the two together, you just want to line it up with one on top of the other, give it a little wiggle and squeeze down on all four sides. Just like that, we've put the faceplate on. Should you wish to switch your faceplate, you're just going to put your fingers in the hole and give it a little tug and they'll pull apart. Once your chosen faceplate is on the deck, you can go ahead and give the keys a little push. Now you've reassembled your LocalDeck, it's time to power it on for the first time. Now, at the end of the day, this is just running ESP Home, so you can follow the same steps as you would do for any other ESP Home device. Fortunately, given we're using the ESP32, we do have access to Improv for provisioning. As such, if your Home Assistant server has Bluetooth, such as with the Raspberry Pi, you'll be able to configure the device even easier. Let's go ahead and plug it in, set it up for the first time. As part of the Improv setup flow, you are going to need to confirm that it's your device. To do this, simply press the button in the bottom left corner of the LocalDeck. As you can see, it's illuminated for you. The device is now connecting itself to the network using the supplied credentials. In just a moment, our brand new LocalDeck is ready to use. Now, if you don't have Bluetooth available, you can set it up using the captive portal. We've covered this in a different video, linked below. Now the Wi-Fi provisioning has completed, we're going to go ahead and set it up in the ESP Home add-on. Now, this isn't strictly a required step, however, it's strongly recommended as it will allow you to keep your firmware up to date, and it's also a requirement for later on when we use the configurator. So let's head on over to the ESP Home add-on, and you'll see we can go ahead and adopt the LocalDeck like any other ESP Home device. At this stage, we're also going to give our LocalDeck a name. This will help us identify it later, especially if you find yourself with more than one LocalDeck. For example, let's call this Office LocalDeck, as it's going to be situated in my home office. We're going to copy the encryption key, we'll need this in a moment, and then we're going to go ahead and update the firmware on our LocalDeck. Now, if this is your first time updating an ESP Home device, please don't worry. It's going to take a little bit of time as it gets the latest tools for the ESP Home toolchain, so that it can recompile the firmware and go ahead and upload it for us. Just be patient, should only take a few minutes. Now that your LocalDeck is all updated, we can go ahead and configure it with ESP Home. After this, your LocalDeck is ready to use. And just like that, we've configured our brand new LocalDeck to talk to Home Assistant. Now you'll notice that right out the box, there's 24 light entities and 24 binary sensors. Each one of these represents the light behind each button and the button itself. You can now go ahead and use the LocalDeck as a trigger for any automations as you would with any other binary sensor. But you may be thinking, how do I use the configurator? Let's go ahead and get that set up. First off, you'll want to head over to the references for the LocalDeck, and you'll see a nice big button for adding the configurator to Home Assistant. Let's go ahead and let that install. Turn on Start on Boot, the watchdog, add to side panel and hit start. Now this is installed, we can go ahead and open the configurator and import our config. Just like that, we can go ahead and start configuring each button to do what we want it to do. One of the brilliant things about the configurator is the ability to set up a two-way binding between a LocalDeck button and a physical device. Now, I have a light that is currently attached to one of our smart plugs, and we're going to bind it to one of our buttons on the LocalDeck. We can click into the entities box and start typing either the name of our device or the entity itself. For example, if I type switch, I'll see all of the different switch entities that I can control with the LocalDeck. Now this could be a switch or a light, anything that's going to accept an on or off signal. Now we've chosen an entity, we've got a few different options. Now the first one is toggle entity. Now this will cause the entity to turn either on or off when we press the button. Next we've got follow state. That is for allowing the LED to follow the on or off. Same thing for brightness and colour, coming soon. Once we're happy, we can go ahead and press save. At this point, you may want to print off your labels. So we can go ahead and click print, and it will give us a nice PDF that you can print out and cut out. Moving forward, we want to head back into the ESP Home add-on to reinstall the firmware. Now that's updated the device with our new firmware, we can go ahead and press button 1. Your light should turn on and off. Now that didn't work, did it? The final step in the process is to tell Home Assistant that our device is allowed to make service calls. When we bind an entity using the configurator, we use what's referred to as a service call. This allows the device to directly turn your light or switch on or off without having to go via an automation. Service calls are great as they lower the amount of configuration you have to do within Home Assistant. However, for additional security, devices have to be explicitly allowed to make such calls. We're going to head into settings, find the ESP Home integration, and click the configure button next to our LocalDeck. You'll see a tick box to allow the device to make service calls, and we can go ahead and click submit. So now we can go ahead and click our configured button, and that will toggle the light bulb I've got set up. Now you'll notice that the LED on the LocalDeck is currently illuminated. Now this is because we've turned on follow state. In the Home Assistant dashboard, I can turn off the light bulb, and it will also turn off the LED on the LocalDeck. The brightness slider allows you to dim the LED on the LocalDeck. So for instance, if we set the brightness to 50%, then when your physical device is at 100% brightness, the LED will only be at 50%. This can be quite helpful if you've got your LocalDeck in your direct eye line and you don't want it to be at full brightness. Now that concludes the first time setup and configuration of your LocalDeck device. From here, possibilities are truly quite endless. We'll be covering a few more advanced topics in a later video, but in the meantime, if you run into any issues, please do head on over to our forum where you can discuss this and other posts. I've been Addon, this has been Local Bytes, and until next time, goodbye.